information at the beginning, weird moments at the middle, and action at the end. Kaka explains more about the festival, which was an event where the Monkey Embu Masters challenged the Monkey King to win the seat of one of the 8 kings. But challenging the Monkey King is supposed to be a very serious match. Different festivals held different matches, from sumo to boxing, but this time it's going to be wrestling. Not just any wrestling match, but a 4-on-1 wrestling match where anything goes. So it's technically a 4-on-1 battle. Technically it's not really wrestling. That's kind of a bummer. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough stamina to take on the Monkey King. They used most of it during the 10th of a second to play those games. In fact, Koko had sustained the most damage, even though he did ward off the Hizakakun attack. However, the damage was still enormous enough to make Koko unable to stand up, even though the Monkey King lightly, emphasis on the word lightly, pushed the back of his legs. But that's okay, because the Monkey King helps them by... Okay, this is actually the part of the chapter where things start to get really weird. He jumps into the ring and shakes his balls, which by the way were also called the Bell of Pear, making this sound that contained this taste, and those that are within the range of the sound obtain these nutrients and fully recover. So the 4 Heavenly Kings, even Koko, have fully recovered their stamina, and they're now ready to take on the Monkey King. Okay, I know I should be used to the fact that Pear is the Monkey King's balls, but this is still weird. Anyway, their match begins with Sunny going first because he wanted to redeem himself after what happened last time. Terry, Queen, and Kiss have been assigned to protect Komatsu, and well, things didn't go off to a great start because the Monkey King throws Sunny at the ropes, nearly sending him off the freaking mountain. But before he could even do a lariat, Zebra comes into the ring and grabs onto the Monkey King, since there's no rules. What's the point of starting off with Sunny first? I mean, there's no tag outs, so they can just come in whenever they want. Hell, this match could have started off as a 4-on-1 instead of a 1-on-1. Anyway, Sunny is slingshotted back. He manages to punch the Monkey King, and from what I can tell in the final panel, it seems that Sunny caused enough damage to make him bleed. Overall, this was a good chapter, but the 4 Heavenly Kings have to do a hell of a lot more if they want to take Pear. Let's just hope that they don't make him angry, because they wouldn't like it if he's angry. Just when I thought this arc couldn't get any weirder, it does. Hell, I think preparing air was easier than preparing Pear. While Zebra was holding on to the Monkey King, he noticed that he was wearing some sort of clothing or an outer layer of skin, which means that the Monkey King was holding back his own power. So, from its first appearance until now, the Monkey King wasn't using its full power. Hell, this wasn't even its true form. Jesus Christ, how freaking strong is this goddamn monkey? Now, this one panel I liked because it represented the difference in power between the Monkey King and Zebra. The power of the Monkey King represented as this giant shadowy monkey figure. Since Zebra realized that he was holding back, he yells at Toriko and Koko to hit him with everything they've got, using the Embu secret techniques, which is basically just the Embu versions of their regular attacks, from the Mugen Kugi Punch to the Beat Punch to Machine Gun Poison. However, using these secret Embu techniques requires a lot of stamina, and in a flashback, Kaka explains to the 4 Heavenly Kings that using the Embu secret techniques will cause very little damage to the Monkey King. But this was all necessary to capture and prepare Pear, because if they keep attacking the Monkey King, he will be happy. And the happier he is, the damper Pear will get, and it will be easier to take. Okay, I haven't put in a lot of thought as to how they're going to capture Pear, but from what this chapter reveals, they have to please the Monkey King so that his balls will become damper and riper so that they can be easy for picking. In other words, they're going to castrate the Monkey King. God, this arc is weird. Anyway, back with the fight, Sunny and Zebra team up to use a hair beat lariat, although I don't know why it's called that because Sunny doesn't use his hair for the lariat. They trap the Monkey King in an arm lock and Koko uses a leg lock, I think that's what you call it, so that the Monkey King can't move and Toriko can grab Pear. But before he could do anything, he smelled the monkey balls, which made his appetite demon restless, and then Toriko's cell started searching for his torn off arm. You know what, it's kind of creepy seeing all the mini Toriko cells searching for the arm. They also make tiny little kia noises. It's kind of weird. But this scene also raises some questions. Like, why isn't Zebra, Coco, and Sunny affected by the smell of Pear? I could probably assume it's because Toriko is closer to Pear and because of his super enhanced smell. And another thing, why didn't Sunny give Toriko back his arm? Because when he noticed that Toriko's arm was real, he could have given it back to him and they would try to like reattach his arm or something. I mean, he used his Satan hair arm to absorb Coco's poison and give it back to him. Why didn't he do that to Toriko's arm? Hell, I don't even think that they've attempted to reattach his arm or regrow it or heal that wound of his. Anyway, it was too soon to capture Pear, but it's too late as Toriko grabs onto the monkey balls and then this happens. I was confused the first time I read this, but after the second time, I think that's the back channel. So touching Pear allowed Toriko to enter the back channel, and why did I think this was the back channel? Well, in this one panel, there was this floating heart, which I assumed that was Tomatsu's heart. I don't know if this was the heart that Teppei pulled out and crushed, but then again, not a lot of information was revealed about the back channel and its connection to Pear and how Pear is supposed to heal Komatsu. In fact, I don't think the back channel was ever mentioned ever since the Dharma Hermit mentioned it. Also, if you look closely at this white figure, even though it's hard to tell, but I think that's Goemon. It was foreshadowed that he was still alive, but I'm just wondering when is he going to reappear. And then we get to the final part of the chapter where things start to get even weirder. An explosion occurs in the ring, revealing that the Monkey King has torn off his outer layer of skin or clothing, revealing its true form, this thing. What the hell is that? It looks like a cross between a monkey and a bear. I've read comments calling this thing a pedo bear monkey, and you know what? They're right, because it kind of looks like pedo bear. Honestly, I liked his old form better than this one. Well, it doesn't really matter, because once its true form was revealed, that means that the Monkey King is now in full power. I don't know if this means that the Monkey King is angry, but if he is, I don't blame him, because Toriko tried to take away his balls. In fact, now that he's in full power, all the monkeys get really scared and leave 100G Mountain. It's not just them that are affected, but apparently Kaka as well. Something up was going on with her as she has this dark look on her face, looking at the den shark, thinking it seems there's no choice. Whatever she's planning to do, it's got something to do with Komatsu. But now that the Monkey King has revealed its true form, the four Heavenly Kings are so fucked. If this were your last day on Earth, what would you want to eat? That's the thought of every single person's mind. Or should I say every single living thing. Humans, mammals, birds, insects, etc. They're all trying to eat their favorite foods like it was their last day on Earth. Why? Well, once again we get a chapter proving how OP as all hell the Monkey King really is. Because he revealed his true form, he released a sense of unease throughout not only the entire gourmet world, but it was also felt in the human world as well. Oh, and a cameo from Smile, you know, the architect guy that made Toriko's candy house. Anyway, this isn't the only thing that the Monkey King can do in his true form. He can also suppress and completely stop Toriko's Mugen Kugi punch. He can stop the freaking infinite nail punch. But there's more! Remember that the Monkey King, with a single swipe of its tail, can slice off mountain tops? Well, in his true form, a single swipe of his tail can not only slice a tiny piece of the mountain, but it can reach all the way up to outer space, slicing a meteorite and a satellite. Did I mention that we're still on the second continent, and this is the second out of the 8 King of Beasts? Luckily for the four Heavenly Kings, the arms of their appetite demons appeared, which helped them dodge the Monkey King's tail swipe. By doing this, the pace of their cells were thrown into disorder, causing their embu to fall apart, becoming affected by the 100 times normal gravity, helping them dodge the attack. If they did try to use embu to ward off the damage from that attack, it would have been too severe for them that they would have died. So Zebra asked the rest of the guys this question: if they died today, what would they want the last thing they'd eaten to be? To which they all replied, pear. But the focus then shifts to Kaka, who is acting very strange. In fact, this chapter and the next chapter revealed her true colors. Now, in a couple of chapters, I did notice that there was something suspicious over Kaka, but here it's shown even more. She was able to pass by Terry Quinn Kiss even though they were right in front of her as they stood guard over Komatsu and the Den Shark. You'd think Terry Quinn and Kiss would notice her, but they were like so focused on protecting Komatsu that they didn't notice Kaka Kaka passing by, or she used some sort of Embu technique to hide her presence. But once she got to the den shark, she reached to Komatsu, and then he wakes up. Which shouldn't be even possible because he's missing a heart. As for the four Heavenly Kings, they have a plan to take on the Monkey King. And what is his plan? Well, let's just say this completely changes the whole concept of Embu. If you guys were expecting more monkey wrestling, yeah, this stopped being a wrestling match a while ago. But before that, the mystery behind Komatsu's awakening. It's a poison doll! Okay, don't get me wrong, I think the poison dolls are an interesting technique. I just don't want it to be used so much that the sense of danger would be diminished or to the point where it starts to get old. But at least that explains why Komatsu was awake, and it confirms that Coco and the rest of the four Heavenly Kings were suspicious on Kaka ever since they first met her. Now before they could attack the Monkey King, Sunny wrapped the entire ring with his hair, creating a hair dome. The reason for this was to prevent that person from watching the fight, meaning Kaka, of course. Plus, Terry, Quinn, and Kiss seem to have sensed what's going on in the Den Shark. So, are we gonna get a little match between Terry, Quinn, and Kiss and Kaka? Because that'd be interesting. I mean, we haven't actually seen these three animals fight for, I guess, since they entered Yuto Island. Anyway, back inside the ring, it seemed at first that they were going to start playing the same games like last time, and after taking a closer look on the Monkey King, he kinda looks like one of those flying monkeys. I don't know what they're called, but I assume that explains the flaps of skin between his arms. But in actuality, they're not playing games. Even though it does look like they're playing games, it looks more like that they're dancing, which is what they're actually doing. We get a flashback to 3 days earlier where Coco talks to the rest of the Heavenly Kings about something he discovered. However, he tells Zebra to turn everyone's voices into otodamas, or voice bullets, just so that they can keep their conversation a secret from a certain someone, obviously referring to Kaka. In this one panel though, he was using poison for something. I guess he was writing a secret message with the poison to inform them about Kaka. I honestly have no idea, but we get to learn what Coco discovered. While exploring the ruins a couple chapters back, he discovered a room emitting strong electromagnetic waves, which was a room full of murals of two monkeys performing Embu. Also, take a look at these two murals right there. Don't these two look familiar, like a certain dance from a certain other shonen series? I see what you did there, Shimabukuro. Now, Coco didn't pay much mind to it, but thinking back to it recently, the first few drawings were the moves that the Monkey King used on them within a tenth of a second. So in actuality, the concept of Embu was not to play these games, but to perform a dance with a set of kata. So the entire time, the Monkey King didn't want a playmate, he wanted a dance partner. But there was something I didn't understand. Back in 304, he was playing hide and seek with Sunny. Unless that was also part of the dance too? I really don't know. And in the final mural was a picture of many people having a meal, enjoying themselves. So, in actuality, to please the Monkey King, they don't have to attack him, but they have to perform 1,000 dance moves in 10 seconds. 1,000 moves in 10 seconds? Well, it's official. Pear is more difficult to prepare and capture than air. So the four Heavenly Kings kept the true method for obtaining Pear a secret from Kaka, and in the next page, Kaka reveals that she is a Blue Nitro. Now, the reason why I believe she's a Blue Nitro is because of the way her face opens. It was the same way as how the Blue Nitro that attacked and killed Ichiryu opened its mouth. But this also confirms that Kaka is also in cahoots with the rest of the Blue Nitros and with Neo. Maybe she was a spy sent by Neo and the Blue Nitros so that once Pear was captured, she would steal it and bring it back to Neo and the Blue Nitros. But it does make me question if what she told the four Heavenly Kings was the truth. Everything about Area 7 and the ancient civilization. Maybe she did tell the truth about that, but was she lying when she said that she was the second Nitro that escaped Gourmet Pyramid? And was she also lying that she knew about Chi-Chi and she was one of the 3 taste sages? And I gotta be frank here, I'm more interested on what's going on with Kaka and more about her than I am with the whole dance sequence, even though it might look kind of funny to see the four Heavenly Kings dancing with the Monkey King. Also, if that Komatsu was a poison doll, then where's the real Komatsu? Meanwhile, at the ring, the Monkey King's body was getting bigger, meaning that his power was expanding, including his balls, which was the first thing that Zebra notices. God, this arc is weird. But at least the chapter was interesting and informative. I was surprised that the whole concept of Embu wasn't playing games, but for dancing. But I did like how the chapter showed how smart Coco was. And I'm also glad that they didn't trust Kaka from the very beginning. In fact, they never trusted her at all. So from what I can tell on what's going to happen in next week's chapter, the 4 Elite Kings are going to try to perform this 10-second dance. And it is obvious that they're going to succeed and obtain pair. But the question is, what's going to happen once they obtain pair? Because they still have to deal with Kaka, and now that Kaka revealed herself to be a Blue Nitro, are they going to fight against her, or is she going to retreat back to Dining Planet? There's a lot of questions that do need to be answered, and hopefully the next couple chapters will shed some light on them.